Sorry, so part 2, we're going to talk a little bit about the yellow spot in the eye. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, why it's important? And
yeah. So the yellow spot in your eye is also called the macula. It's like a 1.5 millimeter little spot in your eye that has this intensely yellow color. And the yellow color comes from carotenoid pigments in your diet, specifically lutein and zeaxanthin. These are the two most predominant ones in this yellow spot of your eye. This yellow spot's function is to protect your eye from UV damage and from blue light damage. And it's also has the highest density of color sensing neurons in the eye, is in this actual yellow spot. So the people that have night blindness, people that have macular degeneration, it's been shown there's a correlation between having lower levels of these carotenoid pigments in the macula. That's been correlated to having poor night vision performance and having even just poor vision in general.
It's also been correlated with certain cancers and, and other eye health in general. But the other thing, I don't mean to cut Jordan off, but don't be confused here. The yellow spot, we're not talking, if the whites of your eyes are yellow, you actually have a massive problem. That is a classic sign of fatty liver disease, and it's also a classic sign that you're very likely to be vitamin A deficient, and that yellow spot that we're referring to is not there. So don't confuse the whites of your eyes being yellow or jaundice, that's what it is, with the yellow spot in your eye.
The yellow spot in your eye is not visible. You can't see it without having some type of specialized eye equipment. It's inside your eye, it's not on the outside. So these carotenoid pigments are stored in this macula, in this yellow spot, and it helps with night vision, it helps with vision in general. So if you know that you have these night blindness issues, you should try to consume more foods that have these pigments in them. Green leafy vegetables are huge. There's very, very high in this. Lutein and zeaxanthin in particular are found in very large amounts in spinach, kale, arugula, all those green leafy vegetables.
And then some of you have heard about lycopene from tomatoes and I think orange foods like butternut squash and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Any carotenoids that you other carotenoids that you would want to talk about that might be significant? And getting a spectrum of the carotenoids that we talked about might be a good idea.
Yeah, so lutein, zeaxanthin, beta-carotene. Beta-carotene, I just want to clarify something overall really quickly, is that carotenoids are chemicals that have vitamin A activity in the body. Not every single one of them has vitamin A activity, but a lot of them can be converted to vitamin A in the body. So that's the relationship between vitamin A and carotenoids. They're plant pigments. The carotenoids are generally, they fall in a range between yellow and red. There are some rare ones that are more purple and pinkish, but you don't encounter those so much in a normal diet. But if you want to get a spectrum of these carotenoids, just make sure you're consuming a wide range of yellow, orange, and red vegetables, and you'll get a wide spectrum of these nutrients.
So there's also research that will show not only is it protective for your eye, but it's also protective for your skin.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago that I looked this up, but if you look it up, you will find that a certain amount of carotenoids in your diet correlates to a certain amount of SPF on your skin. And I believe that is also true with certain chemicals in coffee that maybe you can talk a little bit about that will also tend to be protective for your skin.
Yeah,
I don't even know if it's protective for your eye as well.
I'm not sure about the eye, but there are compounds, the brown compounds in coffee, they're called melanoids. They're produced by something called the Maillard reaction, which is where you roast the coffee. It creates this brown pigment that's formed from the reaction of amino acids and sugars in the coffee. These melanoids have shown anti-inflammatory effects. They can be concentrated in skin tissue, which can protect your skin from UV damage, as well as these carotenoids. So if you're consuming coffee with the carotenoids, your skin's probably pretty protected from UV radiation, even without sunblock or stuff like that.
So what do you think? Our ancestors were pretty well protected when they were being hunters and gatherers and eating lots of fibers and vegetables and fruits and whatnot? So
yeah.
It makes sense, right?
It makes sense to use these chemicals as protection for ourselves. Our ancestors were likely eating very, very high diets in these carotenoids. We're eating way less of them in general now. They were probably way more protected from the UV damage than we are because of that.
And so we will cover much more of this stuff this next coming week with genetic polymorphisms, a lot more stuff with the diet, a little bit more we'll talk about fatty acids and the assimilation of those fatty acids. But I wanted to just put in a real quick thing with private coaching. Many of you have contacted me about private coaching. I will just tell you, private coaching is for people that really want to delve deep. It's for people that can commit to 8 weeks of really just being very strict with the methods that I'll ask them to do in their life. And if you don't have the time, if you're going on vacation, if it's not for you, it's fine. First of all, I can only take 5 people, and that's all I have room for in my schedule. So those 5 spots will likely be taken anyway. But if it's something that you're really serious about doing, just consider the fact that you need to be able to have about 8 weeks where you can be very strict and be very open-minded about trying different things that I'm going to ask you to do, and also be very interactive with me. So you're gonna have to journal, and we're gonna have to meet, and we're gonna have to kind of go through things with a fine-tooth comb in order to dial in the things that you seem to be having a problem with. But I stand by the fact that if you attend all 12 seminars, you're going to have a better understanding than almost anybody you'll ever interact with in your life about your health and what's going on with your body. But if you feel like you need help and accountability beyond that, then go ahead and reach out to me and we can talk about that. All right, everybody, we will see you Sunday. Have a great rest of the week.